6,000. That is the number of service bays sitting emptied across the United States right now. But look closely at those closed glass doors. They are not short on parts, and they are not short on customers. The only thing they are missing is people who still know how to fix the cars. We are in the middle of one of the worst crises in the history of the auto industry, a shortage of 400,000 skilled technicians. And if things continue the way they are, that number will grow to nearly 800,000 by 2027. This is not some distant future. Today, the average wait time for repairs is already 2 weeks, sometimes 3 to 4. The experienced, knowledgeable mechanics are slowly disappearing. Well, and that is when the real question comes into focus. Who killed the American mechanic? In this video, we will go straight to the answer by looking at what is really happening inside America's empty service bays. And at the end, I will give you 3 rules to help you face this period of decline. The cause. When the money machine is abandoned 84%, that is the percentage of technicians who say the school system itself has helped block young people from entering the trades. For decades, America has told an entire generation, if you want to succeed, you must go to college. Meanwhile, becoming a mechanic has been treated as a fallback for those who struggle in school, for hands covered in grease, for working class people looked down on by society. The result is millions of graduates buried in student debt, working for minimum wage. At the same time, skilled mechanics who can earn 6-figure incomes are struggling to find anyone to replace them. But education is only the surface. The real collapse lies in how this industry treats its own craftsmen. The monster called flat rate. Look at the flat rate pay system. On paper, it is meant to improve efficiency. In reality, it is a deeply unfair way to pay workers. A difficult diagnostic job can take 4 hours to find the real problem. But if the manufacturer sets the labor time at 1 hour, the technician only gets paid for 1. The other 3 hours are unpaid labor. In other words, the harder the job, the more money the technician stands to lose. And you cannot blame the technicians. This system pushes them to rush, to cut corners, just to make up for lost time. It leads to parts cannon repairs replacing components at random instead of properly diagnosing the root cause. Meanwhile, dealerships charge customers over $200 an hour. The technician takes home only $30 to $40 of that. On top of that, they are expected to spend up to $50,000 out of their own pocket on tools from torque wrenches to expensive oscilloscopes, compared to electricians, or AC technicians, who often earn more and do not have to invest nearly as much in tools. The mechanic trade has become less appealing than ever. The takeover by private equity. It does not stop there. The rise of private equity has turned family-owned repair shops into cold, profit-driven machines. They buy up trusted local shops and keep the old names to take advantage of customer trust. But inside, they push technicians to become commission-based salespeople. Instead of fixing a small leak in an AC high-pressure line, they are pushed to recommend replacing the entire compressor and condenser to earn a higher commission. Honest mechanics, true craftsmen who care about their work feel insulted by being forced to mislead customers. So they walk away, leaving behind service bays filled with salespeople wearing mechanic uniforms. Technology barriers and manufacturer control. Finally, there is the barrier of proprietary technology. Manufacturers are turning car repair into a costly privilege. Today, replacing a headlight or a side mirror is no longer a job for a wrench and a screwdriver. You take the old part out, install the new one, and the vehicle still does not work properly. Because the system does not accept the new component. You need access to the manufacturer's software to code it into the ECU. Without that step, the car treats the new part as invalid because it does not match the system. The same thing happens with what used to be basic repairs. Replacing fuel injectors, you need to reset fuel learning values. Replacing an electronic throttle body, you need to recalibrate its position. Replacing a transmission, you need to reprogram the control module to match pressure and shift timing. In the past, you replaced the part and drove away. Today, you replace the part, and then you have to ask the software for permission to drive. And that permission is not cheap. An independent shop has to pay thousands of dollars a year just for access. This does not just damage the used car market. It also takes away the ability of small, independent mechanics to survive. And the result for you is a repair bill inflated many times over. Because you are not replacing a burned transistor. You are replacing the entire module. You are not repairing a circuit. You are replacing the whole assembly. That is no longer repair. That is controlled replacement. When the cost of fixing a control board is pushed to 30 times its real value, customers will start to walk away from older cars and buy new ones instead. A perfect cycle for the manufacturer. The collapse of professional pride. In the end, the deepest reason talented technical minds are walking away is the level of disrespect bordering on humiliation from the very system they serve. Within a dealership structure, the technician is often placed at the bottom. They are called grease monkeys. People assume to lack academic ability and therefore fit only for manual labor. But let's be honest about one thing. A person who can diagnose why an engine misfires when it's hot, who can tell whether it's a weak ignition coil, a clogged injector, or a camshaft sensor sending the wrong signal, is not unskilled. That is a level of skill no book can fully teach. When a complex problem appears, the technician is the first to be blamed. The car vibrates, the technician's fault. The customer complains, still the technician's fault. No one asks, could the replacement part be defective from the manufacturer? Could the electronic system be pointing in the wrong direction? On the shop floor, a proper diagnosis can take hours. Checking voltage, verifying grounds, reading live data, removing and reinstalling components multiple times just to confirm the real cause. But once it reaches the office, it is reduced to a single line: technician error. A culture of blame built into the system. The technician is not seen as a craftsman. They are treated as labor. And when you are underpaid, pressed for time, held responsible for every failure, and disrespected day after day, that is what drives capable mechanics out of the trade. This lack of understanding has destroyed the idea of a true career and reduced it to just a job. And as older, highly experienced technicians retire at a rate of about 9% each year, what we are seeing now is the natural outcome of an industry that has devalued the trade and exploited its workers. Corporate greed, social disrespect, and overwhelming financial pressure have created a labor gap that cannot be filled. And the result is a confused next generation, while the core skills of real diagnosis slowly fade away. In the next 5 years, that is the window many in the industry believe this crisis will move from serious to full paralysis. 9% of baby boomer technicians retire every year. The last true masters are leaving the shop floor for good. That is the real danger, because what is disappearing is not just manpower. What is disappearing is mechanical instinct. A master technician does not need to wait for a scan tool to tell him what to do. He understands that a hard-shifting transmission does not always mean the transmission is failing. It could be a slow-responding pressure control solenoid, burned ATF fluid, or a torque converter slipping. He knows that a fault code is often just the final symptom, not always the real cause. But the next generation is growing up in a completely different environment. Instead of learning the fundamentals of combustion or how a torque converter works, many young technicians are trained to depend almost entirely on the scan tool screen. If the OBD2 scanner shows no code, they freeze. If live data does not give them a direct answer, they struggle. If the problem is mechanical and has not triggered a check engine light, they have little to fall back on. The result is a parts cannon approach, replacing components at random until the symptom disappears. This is the darkest future for the trade. Not just a shortage of workers, but a shortage of capable ones. The consequence is that repair shops slowly turn into basic parts swapping stations, where real mechanical understanding is replaced by cold algorithms and printed estimates. Repairs are no longer done by understanding the root cause, and this skills crisis will hit your wallet. Diagnostic costs will rise sharply, wait times will grow longer. Even the most basic repairs may become a gamble. In other words, although the coming crisis is not just about numbers, it is a crisis of competence, and when the next generation is no longer trained to understand the machine. What follows is an industry overtaken by computers, lock software, and electric vehicles where the traditional mechanic has little place left. The challenge of technology in electric vehicles. More than 50% of independent repair shops today are forced to turn customers away simply because they do not have access to the manufacturer's diagnostic software. We are entering an era where every repair requires coding and adaptation through factory software. Without an access code from the manufacturer's server, the ECU will reject the new part. Your $60,000 vehicle becomes nothing more than a polished piece of scrap metal. That is the biggest difference between cars of the past and cars today. The rise of electric vehicles is only adding fuel to this crisis. A traditional gasoline car has around 2,000 moving parts. An electric vehicle has closer to 20. In place of those parts are thousands of lines of code. At that point, you are no longer repairing a car. And you are asking the car for permission to fix it. To even touch an electric vehicle, a technician needs more than standard tools. They need certified insulated equipment and must go through strict high-voltage safety training. Many experienced mechanics people who spent their lives tuning carburetors or working on AFEFI systems now feel left behind. They cannot simply retrain to become engineers who happen to hold a wrench. Manufacturers are deliberately building closed ecosystems where the right to repair is tightly restricted. As technology advances, the gap between the mechanic and the machine keeps growing. Vehicle maintenance is turning into a luxury privilege instead of a basic need. This is not progress. It does not just isolate skilled workers. It places a heavy financial burden on people who are simply trying to keep their vehicles running reliably. Advice for car owners, $5,000. That is the average cost of a replacement engine along with a 3-week wait at a repair shop. If you want your vehicle to survive in a system that is breaking down from within, remember these 3 rules. Rule 1, find a good mechanic before your car breaks down. Do not wait until your car dies on the road. Look for reputable, independent shops where the owner is hands-on or where there are experienced longtime technicians. A shop that invests in advanced diagnostic equipment is a sign of lasting professionalism. If you find someone like that, hold on to them, because people like that are disappearing. Rule 2, maintain your car as if you will not get a second chance. Do not hesitate over a $50 oil change. When oil breaks down, friction rises, heat increases, and everything from bearings to camshafts wears out faster than you think. An engine is slowly destroyed every time maintenance is ignored. Listen carefully to even the smallest changes in how your engine sounds. That is how you protect it. Rule 3, choose a vehicle that any shop can repair. Stick with common, widely supported models. Avoid vehicles locked behind software, dependent on the dealership. Choose simple, proven platforms where a technician with standard tools can still replace a fuel pump, repair the suspension, or handle basic electrical work without needing access permission. In a world where skilled mechanics are disappearing, the smartest choice is not the most modern car, but the one you still have the right to repair. The auto industry is heading towards self-destruction from within, driven by greed and a lack of respect for the very people who create real value. Today, if we do not change how technicians are paid and restore proper respect to these mechanical craftsmen, service shops will soon become nothing more than lifeless storage yards for broken machines. Remember this, the most expensive scan tool in the world can never replace the trained ear and sharp diagnostic thinking of a skilled mechanic. If you are lucky enough to find a true craftsman, value them and hold on to them.